The void of space was silent, broken only by the low hum of the alien armada's engines. Millions of kilometers from the nearest star, the armada moved in perfect formation, a display of military precision and power. Their commander, Zirak, hovered over the control console of his flagship, his eyes scanning the deep black for any sign of trouble. He had seen countless patrols and minor skirmishes, but nothing could have prepared him for what was about to appear. "Commander," a voice crackled through the speaker. "Sensors have picked up something unusual. Unknown ship, massive in size. Approach vector heading directly toward us." "No, sir. It does not match any known design. Its energy signature, it's unlike anything we've ever catalogued." The alien officers exchanged uneasy glances. Space was full of dangers, but encountering a ship of unknown origin this far from the outer colonies was rare and dangerous. The main viewing screen flickered, then illuminated with a massive silhouette. The ship drifted calmly through space. It was enormous, bigger than any warship the Armada had ever built. Its hull was smooth, dark, and angular. No one had ever seen technology like this before. "Sir," said a junior officer, his voice trembling, It's coming closer, and it doesn't even seem to care about our patrols." Zirak felt a chill run through him. He had faced enemy fleets before, but the confidence in this unknown vessel, its complete lack of fear, was different. It moved slowly, almost lazily, but its presence demanded attention. Then, without warning, the human warship fired a single beam of light at a nearby asteroid. The asteroid exploded instantly, breaking into countless fragments. The force of the blast made the alien ship tremble. "By the stars," whispered an officer. That was just a warning shot." Zirak slammed his clawed hand on the console. "Prepare defense protocols. Shields at maximum. Target its location. Fire when ready." The alien fleet scrambled into action, sending swarms of smaller ships toward the human vessel. But the unknown warship did not respond. It did not flee. It did not attack immediately. It simply moved with eerie precision, avoiding every shot as if it could predict the aliens' every move. "Impossible," muttered another officer. "Their shields, we can't even measure them. Their weapons, we can't detect any emissions." Panic began to spread. Space soldiers whispered among themselves, fear growing with every second. Zirak's mind raced. He had to maintain control, but even he felt doubt creeping in. They were trained for war, trained for the impossible, but this was beyond anything they had ever faced. A young officer, barely a cycle out of training, pointed at the screen. "Sir, they're splitting their formation. What are they doing?" Zirak leaned forward, eyes narrowing. The human warship seemed to move with purpose. It didn't scatter or attack recklessly. Instead, it used the debris from the destroyed asteroid to form a defensive perimeter. Every alien maneuver was countered before it could even happen. "They are calculating," Zirak said slowly. "And they are patient. Too patient. That is dangerous." The tension in the control room was palpable. Every officer held their breath as the humans continued their deliberate approach. Communications from distant patrols began to arrive. Ships reported strange sightings, fleets destroyed without warning, weapons rendered useless by some invisible force. Fear spread like wildfire. Then, a new signal appeared on the screens. Another human ship emerging from the darkness behind the first. The alien officers froze. A second ship meant it was not a single anomaly. It meant a coordinated force. "Double their numbers?" hissed one officer, barely able to contain his panic. Zirak's claws tightened around his console. He had faced defeat before. He had faced impossible odds. But nothing had ever made him feel so small, so helpless as these humans did. They did not attack blindly. They did not retreat in fear. They simply existed, moving through space like predators who knew every step of their prey before it could act. The alien fleet formed a line of defense, hoping to intimidate the humans, hoping sheer numbers would be enough. The human warship tilted slightly, revealing its main weapon, a massive, gleaming cannon mounted at its core. There was no warning, No hesitation. And then the first beam struck. An alien destroyer exploded instantly, torn apart by a force beyond comprehension. Alarms blared. The smell of fear hung in the air, even across the communication networks. The humans had not even broken a sweat. They had merely demonstrated what they could do. Zirak stepped back from the console, his mind racing. This changes everything. Alert the fleets. Sound the retreat. No, not yet. Prepare for battle. We will need every tactic, every trick, everything we've ever learned. This is humanity. For the first time, the alien armada felt small, weak, and terrified. The humans were not just another enemy. They were something entirely new. Something that would redefine war, and perhaps the galaxy itself. And as the human warship moved steadily closer, the silence of space was shattered by a single, undeniable truth. The horror had just begun. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more. The silence of space shattered. Panic was spreading like wildfire across the alien armada. The human warship, colossal and silent, moved with a calm purpose that no sensor could measure, no weapon could harm, and no strategy could predict. Commander Zirak paced the bridge of his flagship. His claws clicked against the metallic floor, a sound that couldn't drown the tremor in his chest. Reports were flooding in from every corner of the fleet. Ships destroyed, patrols vanished. Entire supply convoys reduced to nothing. "They are everywhere," whispered a young officer, his eyes wide with terror. Every report, every fleet, gone before they could even fight back. Zirak slammed a claw on the console. "Stop whispering. Speak clearly. What do you mean, gone? How?" The officer gulped. "It's unlike anything we've ever faced." The commander's eyes narrowed. He'd seen rebellious fleets, rogue raiders, even the rare celestial predators that devoured ships whole. But this was something else entirely. Across the armada, ships frantically attempted to regroup. Fleet captains argued, desperate to find a plan. But every strategy crumbled before it could even be executed. "Sir," another officer shouted, his voice cracking. "The humans, they're not attacking together. They are separating, dividing and striking our fleets in ways that make no sense. Yet each strike is fatal." Zirak froze. He studied the readings, disbelief and horror mixing on his face. The humans were unpredictable, yet precise. Every move was illogical by the alien way of thinking, yet devastatingly effective. "They are playing with us," Zirak muttered, almost to himself. "They aren't fighting for territory. They're testing us, studying us." Alarm klaxons screamed through the flagship. A patrol fleet had gone silent, then exploded in a blinding flash. Holographic displays flickered, showing the destruction in real time. Alien officers gasped, some trembling uncontrollably. "They are not afraid of us," whispered a senior officer. They don't fear death." Zirak's claws clenched. These humans, these fragile, soft-skinned creatures, had reduced entire fleets to ash with minimal effort. Their ships were massive, powerful, yet seemed to move with deliberate patience like a predator circling its prey. Then the reports grew worse. Scouts had no record of this model, and sensors failed to capture its energy signature. "They multiply," the junior officer said in a shaky voice. "Every time we face one, another appears." Zirak's mind raced. He had to keep control of the armada, had to rally his forces, but the fear in his officers was contagious. Commands were ignored. The humans were exploiting it, spreading fear as effectively as their weapons. He slammed a claw onto the central console. "Focus. We are the armada. We are the strongest force in this sector. We will not—" A massive explosion rocked the bridge. Sensors flickered and died. An alien destroyer, stationed barely a kilometer away, was reduced to fragments. Its crew vaporized instantly. The blast pattern was precise, surgical, almost deliberate. The humans weren't just attacking. They were demonstrating their absolute superiority. Zirak staggered back, his voice low, trembling with a mixture of fury and fear. "This is not war." Across the fleet, whispers spread. The humans are gods, or monsters. Zirak knew it was worse than panic. Morale was collapsing. Fleet captains began to hesitate, some even questioning if resistance was possible. For the first time in his long career, Zirak realized something terrifying. The humans were not just stronger, they were smarter, faster, and utterly unpredictable. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the human warship continued its slow, methodical approach. It was as if it knew exactly how fear spread, and it used that fear as its primary weapon. Every alien ship that hesitated, every officer that faltered, only made the humans stronger. Zirak's claws tightened until the metal floor creaked beneath them. Sound the alert. Every fleet must retreat or prepare for total destruction. We can't fight them like this, not yet. We need a plan, something new, something no one has ever tried. The young officer looked up, his eyes filled with despair. Sir, they are still coming closer, and they are not hiding. They are waiting. Waiting. And the longer they waited, the more the armada unraveled from within. In that moment, Zirak understood the truth, the one thing that chilled him deeper than any weapon ever could. The humans were not just a threat. They were a force the galaxy had never seen before, and the armada, proud and mighty, was only just beginning to realize it was already losing. The alien armada trembled. Whispers replaced commands, and fear had replaced confidence. The once mighty fleet was already fractured, but Zirak would not let them collapse. He tightened his claws around the console and shouted commands, trying to rally what remained of his forces. "Focus!" he barked. "We strike together! We cannot let them pick us off one by one! Fire at will!" But the humans had already predicted this. From the darkness ahead, the human warship shifted its massive form. Not quickly, but with a slow, purposeful elegance. Alien sensors failed to track the movement completely. It was as if the ship could phase, appearing where it wanted, striking where the aliens were weakest. The first alien volley was fired. Beams of energy streaked across the void, each targeting the human ship's hull. But none of them hit. The beams seemed to pass through or bend away, as if the ship had no ordinary shields. Alien crews watched in horror as their own weapons bounced harmlessly off an invisible force. "Impossible!" screamed a young officer. "Our weapons, they do not work." Then the human warship struck. A concentrated beam shot from its main cannon, and an alien destroyer exploded before it could even react. Not a moment of warning, not a moment of defense. The explosion was precise, surgical. Every crew member gone before fear could even settle in their hearts. Another beam struck, this time targeting a frigate. The ship crumpled under the human assault, torn apart in seconds. Alien pilots tried to dodge, but the humans predicted every movement, every formation, every evasive maneuver, already countered. Zirak's chest tightened. He had faced the deadliest fleets in the sector, but never a force like this. These humans didn't just fight. They outthought the armada at every turn. They're not just attacking," muttered a senior officer, voice trembling. "They are studying us. Every move we make, they know it before we do." Zirak's mind raced. They had numbers, weapons, training, but the humans were different. Faster, smarter, more precise. Every alien attack seemed to make the humans stronger, more confident. Another human ship emerged, appearing from the dark side of a shattered asteroid field. It fired a single shot at an alien battleship, slicing through its shields and armor like the ship was made of paper. In seconds, the battleship was gone. Alien eyes widened, their fleet, their pride, their strength vanishing before a single silent human ship. And then the humans did something unexpected. They paused. No shots, no movement. Just a presence massive and terrifying, dominating the battlefield. The alien fleet hesitated, confused. Zirak realized it was a tactic. Humans didn't need to fight constantly to terrify their enemies. Their very presence was enough to break formations, to spread panic, to control the minds of those who opposed them. "They are waiting," whispered a young pilot. "Waiting for what?" Zirak didn't answer. He could feel it too, the quiet before the storm. The humans were preparing for something bigger, something the armada could not yet see. Suddenly, a series of rapid strikes hit from multiple angles. Alien ships were destroyed in groups, their formations shattered. Communications broke down as panic turned to chaos. Entire fleets were reduced to debris in minutes. Every alien who survived watched in disbelief. Humans hadn't only won the first strike, they had won the entire battle before it even began. Zyrak staggered, his claws trembling. His mind raced, trying to find some hope, some plan. But there was none. These humans, fragile, soft, seemingly insignificant, had done the impossible. They were stronger, faster, smarter, and utterly unpredictable. He realized the truth, cold and terrifying. They were not facing a war. They were facing a force that redefined war itself. Across the battlefield, the human warships moved slowly, deliberately, like predators circling their prey. They didn't gloat. They didn't celebrate. They simply existed, powerful, precise, and unstoppable. Every alien fleet they passed would whisper stories of horror and awe, tales that would spread across the galaxy and grow with every telling. Zyrak looked at the carnage, his mind heavy with the weight of what was happening. "This is only the beginning," he murmured. "They are not just attacking, they are teaching us what we never knew." And somewhere deep in the void of space, the human commander watched calmly, as if the destruction was nothing more than a lesson, an unstoppable force shaping the galaxy in their image. The armada had suffered its first strike, and it would not be its last. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more. The silence of space had shattered. Across the alien armada, panic spread like a wildfire. The human warship, colossal and silent, moved with a calm purpose that no sensor could measure, no weapon could harm, and no strategy could predict. Commander Zyrak paced across the bridge of his flagship. His claws clicked against the metallic floor, but the sound couldn't drown the tremor in his chest. Reports were flooding in from every corner of the fleet. Ships destroyed, patrols vanished, entire supply convoys reduced to nothing. "They are everywhere," whispered a young officer, his eyes wide. "Every report, every fleet, gone before they could even fight back." Zyrak slammed a claw on the console. "Stop whispering. Speak clearly. What do you mean, gone? How?" The officer gulped. We can't explain it, sir. Their tactics, it's unlike anything we have ever faced. They strike, and we are already defeated before we understand what happened." The commander's eyes narrowed. He had faced countless enemies in his lifetime. He had seen rebellion fleets, rogue raiders, even the rare celestial predators that devour ships whole. But this was something else entirely. Something beyond fear. Something that made every calculated move feel useless. Across the armada, ships attempted to regroup. Communication lines buzzed with panic as fleet captains argued, desperate to find a plan. But every plan crumbled before it was even executed. "Sir!" another officer shouted. "The humans! They aren't attacking together. They are separating, dividing, and striking our fleets in ways that make no sense. Yet each strike is fatal." Zyrak froze. He studied the readings, disbelief and horror mixing on his face. The humans were unpredictable, yet precise. Every move was illogical by the alien way of thinking, yet utterly devastating in effect. "They are playing with us," Zyrak muttered, almost to himself. "They are not fighting for territory. They are testing us, studying us." Alarm klaxons screamed through the flagship. A patrol fleet had gone silent, then exploded in a blinding flash. Holographic displays flickered, showing the destruction in real time. Alien officers gasped, some trembling uncontrollably. "They are not afraid of us," whispered a senior officer. They do not fear death." Zyrak's claws clenched. Fear was a foreign concept for him, but now he felt it gnawing at his core. These humans, fragile, soft-skinned creatures, had reduced entire fleets to ash with minimal effort. Then the reports grew worse. Another ship appeared, this one smaller, faster, and even more enigmatic. Scouts had no record of this model, and sensors failed to capture its energy signature. "They multiply," the junior officer said in a shaky voice. "Every time we face one, another appears." Zirak slammed his claw onto the central console. "Focus! We are the Armada. We are the strongest force in this sector. We will not—" A massive explosion rocked the bridge. Sensors flickered. An alien destroyer, stationed barely a kilometer away, was reduced to fragments, its crew vaporized instantly. The blast pattern was precise, surgical, almost deliberate. The humans weren't just attacking, they were demonstrating superiority. Zirak staggered back. His voice was low, trembling with fury and fear. "This is not war. This is annihilation. And they are teaching us how powerless we are." The remnants of the alien armada now drifted through the void, their once proud formations shattered. But the humans were gone. Not gone in the sense of retreat, gone in the sense of vanishing. No ship signatures, no energy readings, no traces. The aliens' advanced technology could not detect the humans' new position. "They've disappeared," whispered a junior officer, fear creeping back into his voice. Zirak's claws clenched. "Impossible. No fleet moves like this. Silently. No strategy relies on being invisible to all sensors." And yet, they were invisible. For hours, the aliens waited, trying to regroup, trying to predict the humans' next move. Then it began again. Small attacks at first. Supply convoys destroyed, patrol ships evaporated, communication satellites obliterated. No warning shots. Only precision strikes hitting every target with surgical accuracy. "They are inside our networks," muttered a senior officer, his eyes wide. Alien commanders tried to fight back, launching patrols to track the attackers, but every patrol returned in pieces, or sometimes not at all. A desperate strike was launched on a human convoy spotted near an asteroid belt. Missiles fired, beams shot forward. But the humans didn't fight openly. Instead, the convoy seemed to merge with the shadows of the asteroids, appearing in one place then another, dodging every attack. The aliens could not comprehend it. It was not speed, not sheer power. It was strategy beyond their understanding. The humans had turned space itself into a weapon, using it to hide, confuse, and dominate. Fear had become a weapon in itself, and the humans wielded it expertly. Zirak's claws ached from gripping the console. He had faced countless enemies, but never one that could dominate without striking. The humans didn't need to attack openly. They existed as an unseen, unstoppable threat, rewriting the rules of warfare. And somewhere in the darkness, the humans moved silently, calculating, patient, and deadly. The alien fleets were no longer hunters. They were prey. The alien armada floated in chaos. Fear had twisted their mighty formations into scattered, vulnerable fragments. Commander Zirak's claws shook as he studied the sensors. Every report painted the same terrifying picture. Humans were not just winning, they were controlling the entire battlefield. "They are everywhere," a young officer muttered, his voice trembling. "No fleet is safe. Every attack we plan, it fails before it even starts." Zirak slammed his claw on the console, the impact echoing his frustration. "Enough. Prepare for coordinated counterattacks. We will not let them dictate this fight." But the humans had already anticipated it. From the cold darkness, a human ship materialized, cloaked in a shimmer that no sensor could penetrate until it was far too late. It struck an alien battleship with a beam of light so precise it sliced straight through the shields. The massive warship exploded in a silent, brilliant flash, leaving the alien crews frozen in disbelief. They see everything," another officer screamed, pointing at the void. "Every move we make, they know it before we do." Zirak finally grasped the horrifying truth. The humans weren't just strong. They were smarter than anyone had ever imagined. Every alien maneuver was studied, predicted, and countered. Every formation was broken, every tactic dismantled with chilling efficiency. Another human ship jumped from the black, this time striking the alien supply fleet. A chain of explosions lit up space as colossal freighters were torn apart with surgical precision. Alien captains tried desperately to respond, firing frantic volleys of energy beams, but the human ships dodged without effort, striking targets that seemed impossible to reach. "They are changing the rules of battle," a senior officer whispered, his voice cracking with dread. "Every fight, every defense, it is useless against them." Zirak's mind raced. He had faced the deadliest enemies in his long career, but nothing compared to this. These humans, so fragile in appearance, so soft in flesh, had turned his grand armada into helpless prey. The human warships moved with a deliberate predatory grace like sharks circling a dying leviathan. They didn't need to attack all at once. Every strike was calculated, every movement perfectly timed. Alien fleets crumbled simply because they were too slow, too predictable. Then the human commander appeared on the main view screen. Not a ship, not a weapon, just a single figure in a communication hologram, calm, collected, with an undeniable, commanding presence. Every alien who saw it felt a chilling mix of fear and awe. They are leaders," a young officer whispered. "One mind controlling all?" Every strike, every maneuver, every disappearance was planned with a precision that bordered on clairvoyance. The Armada's chances of winning were shrinking with every passing second. Another wave of attacks struck. Alien ships were obliterated before they could even power up their weapons. Fleets that had attempted to regroup were torn apart from multiple angles simultaneously. Chaos reigned. Panic spread faster than the explosions. Zirak knew then there was no hope. Retreat was impossible. They would be hunted down. Resistance was futile. The humans weren't just winning, they were reshaping the very fabric of space to their will. In a final, terrifying display, the human fleet fired a coordinated volley across the battlefield. It wasn't a random barrage. It was a path of destruction so precise that every remaining alien ship was left isolated, surrounded, and completely vulnerable. The Armada was on the verge of total collapse. "They are unstoppable," Zirak whispered, his voice almost drowned by the wailing alarms. "They are perfect killers. They are humanity." And in the darkness, the human warships moved with a terrifying calm. They didn't need to shout. They didn't need to celebrate. Their silent, methodical presence alone had broken the mightiest fleet in the sector. The turning point was clear. The humans had won not through brute force, but through intelligence, patience, and a strategy so superior, it was almost alien. The Armada would never recover. Not from this, not from them. And somewhere, beyond the shattered fleets and burning stars, the humans waited, ready to strike their next target. Their calm dominance left no doubt. The galaxy would never be the same again. The alien Armada was all but annihilated. After a brutal campaign, only a handful of ships remained, survivors of relentless human attacks. Commander Zirak stood on the bridge of his crippled flagship, the last bastion of a once mighty fleet. His officers watched him, their faces a mixture of fear and confusion, waiting for the order that would seal their fate. Taking a deep, steadying breath, Zirak's voice cut through the tense silence. "We must attempt one final stratagem," he declared. "If we do nothing, we will be destroyed anyway." The officers listened, their silent nods a grim acknowledgement. There were no arguments, no debates. They all knew this was their final, desperate chance. Zirak issued the command. "Gather every ship that is still operational. Bring them to the dead zone. This will be our trap. The humans will face the last of our might, all at once." Hours later, a ghost fleet materialized in the void. Every surviving alien vessel had answered the call. The dark expanse of space filled with battered battleships, scarred cruisers, and limping carriers. They formed a tight, impenetrable wall, their shields overlapping, their last remaining weapons charging to full power. A deadly web of mines floated around their perimeter. It was the strongest, most concentrated defensive line they had ever forged. "Now," Zirak said, his voice low and firm, "we wait." The bridge fell silent, every officer holding their breath. Then a sharp beep from the sensor console. "Commander," an officer whispered, "a single human ship is approaching." A lone warship emerged from the darkness, gliding slowly, almost casually, without a hint of fear. Zyrak's command was a roar. Fire! In an instant, every alien ship unleashed its fury. Thousands of energy blasts converged on the solitary human vessel, painting the void with a cataclysmic, blinding light. The sky itself seemed to tear apart. But when the light finally faded, the human ship was still there, untouched, unscathed. The devastating barrage had done absolutely nothing. A collective gasp swept through the alien bridge. The officers froze, their minds unable to process what they were seeing. Then, more human ships began to appear. 10, 20, 50. They decloaked all around the dead zone, emerging from behind asteroids, slipping out of unseen wormholes, some even materializing right in the middle of the minefield itself, disabling the traps as they appeared. The aliens stared in horrified disbelief. It was never a trap for them, an officer stammered, the realization dawning. They trapped us. The humans attacked. Precision beams sliced through layered shields as if they were paper. Missiles tore through reinforced armor, gutting ships from the inside out. One by one, the alien vessels exploded, turning the dead zone into a maelstrom of fire and shrapnel. Fight back, Zyrak bellowed, his voice raw with desperation. Do not stop. But it was useless. The humans were too fast, their tactics too advanced, their power overwhelming. Then, a shadow fell over the battlefield. A colossal human dreadnought warped into view, dwarfing everything around it. It fired a single blinding shot. A silent shockwave rippled across the field, and hundreds of alien ships simply disintegrated, breaking apart at once as if they were made of glass. Screams echoed across the comms. Alarms blared their final, futile warnings. The battle was over. It had been lost before it even began. Zyrak watched the last embers of his fleet flicker and die. The fear was gone now, replaced by a cold, stark understanding. We never truly knew them, he said softly, more to himself than to anyone else. They learned us. They studied us. And now, we pay the price. The remaining human ships turned their attention to his flagship. Commander Zyrak stood tall, his posture unbowed even in defeat. We fought with everything we had, he said, his final words a quiet epitaph for his entire civilization. A brilliant beam of light struck the bridge. The flagship and the last of the alien armada vanished in a silent, blinding flash, and the human fleet continued its journey forward, silent, relentless, and unstoppable. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more tales from the outer reaches. We'll see you in the next one. The battlefield was quiet now. The fires had faded. The drifting metal had cooled. What remained of the alien armada floated as silent wreckage across the dead zone. Thousands of broken ships, scattered like dust across the stars. In the center of this graveyard, the human fleet stood untouched. Their warships formed a calm circle, their hulls glowing softly in the faint starlight. They did not celebrate. They did not speak. They simply watched the ruins around them with cold, steady focus. The battle had lasted mere minutes. The war had lasted only hours, but the message it sent would echo across the galaxy for centuries. Far away, survivors from distant alien outposts received fragments of the battle, half-finished transmissions, distorted screams, glimpses of massive human warships tearing through the armada with impossible precision. The galaxy froze in fear. Whispers spread from world to world. The humans destroyed the armada. They conquered the unbeatable. They reshaped war itself. But the whispers grew darker too. They saw everything. They learned everything. And they are still coming. Many alien leaders tried to deny it. They said the reports were exaggerated. They claimed the humans could not be that powerful. They said no simple species could defeat the armada, but none of them dared send a ship to confirm. Fear was enough. Back in the dead zone, the human flagship drifted to the front of the formation. A single communication pulse shot across space. Calm, simple, unthreatening. But everyone who heard it felt the same thing, a warning. The humans were not monsters. They were not cruel. They were not emotional. They were efficient. and they were prepared for whatever came next. Inside the flagship, the human commander stood before a dark window, watching the wreckage drift like dust in a storm. No joy, no anger, only quiet purpose. "This sector is secured," the commander said. "Begin analysis. We must understand every enemy, every strategy, every pattern." Technicians nodded. Data streamed across the screens, mapping alien tactics, weaknesses, and communication routes. Every detail was gathered, stored, studied. The humans weren't conquering for pride. They were preparing for something larger, something darker, something that terrified even them. Across the galaxy, a final transmission from a fallen alien general spread from system to system. A message that would be remembered as one of the greatest warnings in history. They are not the threat you think they are. They are worse. They are patient. They are precise. They learn everything. If you face them, do not underestimate them, not even for a moment. Alien governments debated the message. Some believed it, some ignored it, some hid. But all felt the same cold truth settle in their bones. The humans had arrived, and the galaxy was not ready. The human fleet began to move again. Slow, steady, unhurried. Not chasing anyone, not attacking, only traveling with purpose. Their ships slipped into faster-than-light corridors, vanishing one by one, heading toward an unknown system. Aliens watching from distant sensors felt a chill run through them. "What are they looking for?" one whispered. "What do they want?" another asked. No one had an answer. But one thing was certain. The humans were not finished. The galaxy's greatest armada had fallen. The humans had walked through it like shadows. And somewhere ahead, in the silent stretch of unclaimed stars, the next chapter waited, dark, unknown, and full of fear. A horror, a warning, and above all, a species that the galaxy would never forget. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you in the next one.